Hi everyone, welcome to my first knitting podcast in English. Um, I try to introduce me in this knitting podcast because I have a Spanish knitting podcast. I begin with a Spanish knitting podcast. I was the first um, to make one alone. A Spanish knitting podcast, and it was the first in Spain. I began with this knitting podcast on December of 2016, and the last 2 years ago, I was thinking if I make one knitting podcast in English. Oh my god! But but what happened? I don't speak English with another people since I was studying in the university when I studied my degree of history of art, almost 20 years ago. Oh my goodness, 20 years ago. So sometimes very difficult to me think in English. Any questions? So the first things I want to say is please apologize my English in this knitting podcast because sometimes I don't find some words in English but just in Spanish. So I live in a country west. I live in a town very near of Seville, in Spain. I live in the south of Spain. Okay. I will try to introduce. I have. I am knitwear designer. I'm a Spanish knitwear designer. My patterns are also in English. And you can find me in all social media like Desmadejada. Well, what is Desmadejada? Desmadejada is a word in Spanish that means something very similar, but not exactly. Okay, something very similar to rabbit. And so on my Instagram, you can find all my posts as also in Spanish and also in English. Spanish and English. So you can find me on my Instagram like Desmadejada, and you can read me in English too. Where I begin to knit when I was a child, but I don't remember the age where I began to knit. My mother told me when I was 5 years old, but I don't remember this. I remember all my life with knit something or crochet something. And when I study history of art, I have the purpose to work on a museum because I love the the colorful, the symmetrical, the harmony, the beautiful, all the things that you can find in art. So uh, in a time of my life, I think, okay, I study history of art. I want to work in a museum, but all the things that I like from this career, this studies, this art is also in knitwear design. The structures, the symmetrical, the colorful, the creativity. So all of this is also in knitwear design. So I decided to begin a career about this and study about tailor and costume, about historic costumes, um, work in theater to make the costumes. After that, I decided to begin to design my knitwear designs in hand knitting. this podcast is only to introduce me, and you can find all my jobs on my work on Ravelry, and you can find me like also like Sonia Masegosa. This is my name. But I can begin this like the section about work in progress. Well, I have work in progress in two projects now. The first project I was working is back in knitting because I have iron weight yarns. I and iron weight I knitting with 3 millimeters point needles, and so it's very easy because this is you can find this is no need you have a canvas here to protect the inside of the bag because is this gauge is very oh my godness, it's very good. um Here this is the base. Only want to knit a fold to make here, um maybe in the in the second episode you can find like a finished project. This is like back to school. Okay, this is a project to back to school. Okay, begin with my knitting work in progress. This is my first knitting work in progress. Is a cropped top. Is only one only rest to knit the sleeves. I knitted with two types of weight yarns, lace yarn from here from yoke, and fingering weight for the body and the sleeves. You can use the similar color chromatic or contrast with another color. This is I think maybe with a contrast color is better because here this kind of stitches is better with a contrast color. Maybe it's better with a contrast color. So I want. So I think it's beautiful, and I try to finish when I try to finish it at the end of September because I travel to London in this time. I want to carry this. So the last finish work in progress is this sweater. This is a design about my club, knitting club in Spanish. I have a knitting club online in Spanish. Two people who want to knit my designs along 1 year. This club is the last club. I don't organize another. So this club have a collection inspired modernist Catalan. This is a sweater inspired in amateur house, and this is the time of ideas when I begin to design, and I transform this ideas to make this sweater. I My first idea was this, from this for that design, and better, but I was transform this idea to this, and after that I transferred this idea to this, and this is the definitive last design for that for that sweater. I want to make a sleeve in Spanish is called, and Tyler is called like manga martillo. Um, I think is probably in English saddler sleeve, probably it's like saddler sleeve, and make this with a simple sleeve on right, and with a texture sleeve on left. You have this also have a pocket, and the inside of pocket was in another color to contrast, and the texture is here in the left, but I don't know if make the sleeve like this or like this. Da-da-da-da. I don't know. Probably like this. Well, I was trying to make make a gauge. The first, I was make a gauge at the first with practice some different textures. I decide this texture is beautiful, so this is the stitch was I was knitting in. I'm knitting in the sleeve, and in my pocket, in the front of my pocket. The inside of the pocket is in another color, and the rest of the sweater is in this color, but it's no like camera is, oh, it's like this, yes, like this. Thank you. So I make sometimes prototypes in a small to make some things. I make this first joke. So sometimes I make jokes to prove, practice some ideas um, to make how beautiful or awful results. So this is the second joke. It's not awful. So make this construction. This is make this construction. I think this sweater, it was very difficult to begin, but I'm very happy to practice this, because when you make this kind of sleeve, it's a sleeve when you are tailor on sewing, and you construct this with a part of a sleeve into a shoulder. So when I translate this question to knitting top down, I want to make this kind of shoulder, this kind of sleeve on shoulder when I was knitting, and after that when you can knit until here, you must make the construction of a sleeve until here. And so, in my Spanish knitting podcast, I record one episode on week. but in English it's also more difficult to me to explain. So I try to record one episode a month. So and I can show you more things, more finished objects. Okay, this is my first podcast in English. You can follow me in this channel. This channel is only for English episode. I have another channel to Spanish episode. So sorry, you don't have a Spanish spam. So you can follow me on YouTube. Okay, this is my first knitting podcast in English. So you can. Thank you very much for watching until here. My awful English. So, bye.